So, as you have noticed, there is an Egypt in America as well as an Egypt on the other side of the globe. And if you look, then they mirror each other. Like if you printed them out on paper and folded it in half, or folded it a specific way, they align. They mirror each other. And so one is supposed to actually be in the north and the other is supposed to be in the south. As above, so below. One takes a season in the snow and then it's the other turn's season to take things in the snow. I think every 1,000 years. And so there are different events that happen during that wind down period. And so when we do the shift over, like some very strange things are going to happen. This is where, and this is why the whole CERN science plays into all of this. And this is where a lot of things that we thought could not be true, if they were not true before, then they will become true. And that's because if they did not exist before now, they have been created by now. Because scientists have been left to, at will, do whatever science that they want without somebody monitoring the ethical boundaries of the science that they're doing. If there was somebody in charge of monitoring that, even when Hitler was on the planet, like all of these decades, if there was somebody monitoring the ethical boundaries of what everybody is allowed to do on the planet, then we wouldn't be going sideways. This is where corruption has been allowed to lead. And by the laws of nature, like once all of the errors have been found, you stop, you make corrections, and then you start things up again. Like if you have something going wrong with your vehicle, a lot of people do keep driving it. They don't bother checking that. And therein lies the difference. Someone like me is going to stop right away, try to see what's wrong before we continue any further. Diagnose the problem, align, correct, and then start it back up again and see what happens. And so, even NASA, like all of these departments have been allowed to function unchecked, utilizing ancient information without conscience. Like legitimately, there's specific tests that you're supposed to pass before you go wheeling any of this. You're supposed to have like a form of a King Solomon on the planet that can weigh this out without emotion weighing in as to logically, is this going to do more harm than good? And so people have been taking a gamble with everybody's lives on the planet. Like, whose idea was nuclear waste? Who thought about that? Like, since when is war so important that you need chemicals that can blow up the entirety of the planet? None of that was ever supposed to be here. Mining, like, we're never supposed to be pulling things from the planet that way. We're never supposed to be an invasive species. something went wrong along the way. And so by people being able to be bought with a monetary system and based on their greed, and like they have a selfish agenda. And so this is where like the order of things is absolutely going to change. Nobody's going to be able to build a nuclear anything without having a prior authorization from a higher court. And just recognize that it's the ones that have already done something wrong that are going to be called to the carpet. Like, they know who they are, and they had to know this day was coming. They had to know that one day someone would come along and stop them. If it was okay to disregard boundaries, then what happens next should be just okay with you. And that's what people don't seem to realize. Boundaries are in place for a reason. Ethical, moral boundaries are in place for a reason. They're not being honored, they're not being taught. And so women will stop producing because the entire planet is an unsafe place to be, based on just the toxins in our atmosphere. And so on a scientific global emergency scale, someone had to hit the red button, because especially if people are not in their right minds, if people have been traumatized, if people are able to be manipulated, if nothing is going to change, then at least one person needs to do something to change it all. And there's only so much I can explain. But people need to become self-reliant. There's a lot of things that are going to be getting canceled. And we'll be lucky if we get to keep our technology going through it. Gosh, what would happen if it all went dark and we lost all forms of communication? A self-correction, that's what would happen. People would be forced to get off their screens and learn how to get along with their environment. So some big things are coming, and people are going to want to get prepared. Do not stock up on food. What you want to do is learn how to forage. Have a plan in place that doesn't require going to the grocery store. There's a reason for the foods in the grocery stores. There's a reason for their discontinuation. And that's because they've all been contaminated in some form. And so when people are put in a position where they do not have the ability to tell themselves no, then someone with that ability to hold that discipline has to be the one to do it. And so recognize that is what's next. And so, in a sense, the conspiracy theories are true, but that's because the person that wrote the conspiracy theory knew what they did to break the law. Not just the law, but they intentionally made a plan and initiated it to cause harm in the life of someone else. And there is an accountability that must be met for that choice. And so, in order for citizens to take actions seriously, they have to see bigger beings take the punishment, or like, there will be no amnesty. Not allowed. No amnesty. That doesn't exist in this court. And so, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. If you committed a crime, there's penalties for that. And it most likely won't be in dollars. You won't be able to buy your way out of this, I'm guessing. And so, again, I'm just the messenger. I'm not actually the person in charge. So, people need to realize shit's about to get real quick. And so, learn how to get grounded and stay calm, no matter what's happening around you. But the hardships that were intentionally placed on humanity has absolutely caused mutations in citizens, and science is soon going to be explaining that. People are not in their natural state. Their cells have no choice but to mutate. Hence, the conspiracies, they're actually talking about the citizens, us. We are the mutations, the mutants that they're afraid of. You think it's not you. Well, that's what they need you to think. And in this, like, it's the people that the people that have spent a lot of time in their life riding a high horse will be humbled. Because every time you thought you were not the problem, you will see how, in fact, you were very much the problem. Revelations simply means that all things will be revealed. And that's exactly what's happening throughout court systems, in nature, just communicating back and forth between humans. All things are being revealed. And so, kind of like that Jim Carrey movie, Liar, Liar, people won't, like, for whatever reasons, they won't be able to lie. All of a sudden, all the truths will start coming out. And we're already seeing this happen. It's been amusing. So, you know, for those of us that are used to going without, I want to say that basically not going to notice. We're going to be the ones oblivious to what other people are going through outside of the tantrums that they're having. And at which point recognize that the person having the tantrum, the person experiencing karma, most likely had that coming. And so don't put too much energy into it. Observe, but don't emotionally invest. The same with the conspiracies. Observe, but do not emotionally invest. Religion. Observe, do not emotionally invest. Everything you see on your screen, observe, do not emotionally invest. If you see that you are emotionally investing with what's on your screen, then you need to give yourself time away from the device, because that is misplaced energy going into the device when you need to be emotionally investing in your surroundings. This is why relationships have died, because people are emotionally invested in their device and their screens, and not enough emotionally invested in their surroundings. And that's a good place to leave it. Have a good day.